welcome to Painscreek Killing. I have already messed up the name. We know how this is gonna go today. I will be messing up on a lot of the names, and it's just unfortunately how it goes. We are gonna do a walkthrough, and you can follow along with me if you play, or if you just really enjoy the game. I'm gonna go through and show you how you get to point A to point B and all the stops in between, because it's not as easy as going as a straight line in this game. We've already played this. We did almost a complete run through on my Twitch channel, so if you would like to see that, we will be uploading it later on. But if you would like to see more games like this played live, we will do that. Every Monday on Twitch, we do a story-based game, and this Monday was the Painscreek Killings. A beautiful game. As you can see, it says continue. I can click on that and get to the point, but we're not going to do that. So, I'm going to show you, as I said, how we get from point A to point B with all the little stops in between. We're going to be keeping track of everything as well on the screen with this little notepad here. And we're going to put in all the names and their connections and the little hints that we get about them as we play. So let's jump into it. New game. Yes. And I'm going to say, if you're like me and you love getting all the achievements for a game, the first things you're gonna do is, when we get to it, when we get into it, we're actually going to immediately leave after we start.
Hey, Janet. So the chief has entrusted you with my assignment, hey? I hope it didn't interfere with your weekend plans. Anyway, he told me to call you and fill you in on it. You remember the murder that happened a few years back that was never solved? The one at Painscreek where the ex-mayor's wife was killed? Well, the property's being auctioned off soon, so we don't have much time to dig up anything that's relevant to the case. So, see what you can find. Hopefully it'll be something worth publishing. Anyway, take care. I'll see you on Monday. Bye.
Okay, there is a little skip button. We're gonna do that when we start the next one up. Like I said, for this one, here is our note. And we need to figure out who killed Vivian Roberts, what was the motive, what was the murder weapon, and we have to submit a photo. And we do have a camera, but like I said, we are going to go right back out. And this is how we get fired. Hold on. Let me actually take this off so you can see it. We really don't have anything. This is a joke. Where is it putting? It's putting to the murder weapon. Okay. And there you go, you're fired. That is probably the easiest achievement to get. And there it is, just popped up, you're fired. We got 2% complete though. That's pretty good, right? Okay, so we are back. Yeah, so I did have to start a new game. If you have not gotten to that point again, please pause this, come back to when you're here, and we'll continue. If you have, hi! So here we go. We are who killed Vivian Roberts. So obviously that is who we have to figure out. Um, I am just going to put down her name, and I'm going to do pink. I don't know why, but we're going to do pink. So let me type that out. So this is our main person that we're looking to figure out what happened to her. So in 1995, Vivian Roberts, a successful businesswoman and wife of the former mayor, was murdered and dragged to the front of her own home. The case was never solved and the killer was never found. It was rumored that a private investigator was in Painscreek sometimes later, but there was nothing more on that. Last week, we received news the large swaths of Painscreek County will be auctioned off soon. We would like to revisit the story and attempt to find out the following. 1. Who killed Vivian Roberts? 2. What was the motive? 3. What was the murder weapon? Please submit your findings and a front page photograph for your story to be published. So that is what we're doing here. So it's going to give you look around, how to move around. And the very neat thing about this game, if you wanted to, it does have a controller option. I have not tried it yet, but that is an option if you like playing it on controller. And it does have different languages, so if that's something that you want, that's what you can get. Make sure all your stuff is good, and we can continue. Population 0, welcome to Painscreek. Here's our card. Don't click on this unless you want to leave, like we already did. So we have the sheriff's office. Yeah. So you can zoom in and see it, and C to use your camera. P to view your pictures taken. Now we're going to enter the sheriff's office. Me, I don't know. I really like turning everything on and off. Like opening up all the doors and stuff. Probably not needed, but we can try it. Some light switches don't work. Find another way to see around. See better in the dark. Kind of said it's a little too fast. And of course it says that, and there's a flashlight right here for you. You can look around, and you hit F to store the item. Here is the map, which will just automatically go into your inventory. And now we have the map to see where we are. So right now we're at the sheriff's outpost. This is everything else. Here's the mayor's mansion, and this is where our victim would have lived. And it said L for light. As you can see, that works. This is just kind of showing you what's around the town. And here is our first newspaper. Vivian Roberts, successful businesswoman and wife of ex-mayor, found dead in front of her home. Third death to strike Painscreek in less than a year. Vivian Roberts, the wife of ex-mayor Charles Roberts, was found dead in front of her home at 1 Maple Drive, Painscreek. At 7:15, Mary Martinez, I want to say, a maid currently working at the mansion, was receiving the morning paper when she saw Vivian's body. She immediately called 911. The Painscreek sheriff, James Howard, arrived shortly, and the victim was pronounced dead. The time of death was estimated to be between 11 p.m. last night and 1 a.m. this morning. The body is currently at the coroner's office waiting for an autopsy. The people of Painscreek have started grieving for her. Candles and flowers were being placed at the gates in front of her home where she was found. Vivian was indeed a person whom many respected and adored. Her success in business, her loyalty to her family, and her love for the people of Painscreek were unsurpassed. She will be missed. So right here, this tells us that she lived at 1 Maple Drive. So I'm going to put that down as well. We're going to do this, and we're going to just actually like that. There we go. So we'll just do it as they have placed it. And I'm going to do this with any and all names that we do find. I guess, actually, I want to move it over her name. And I am going to be muting a little bit when I'm typing because my keyboard is loud. So, don't mind that. So, we have 1 Maple Drive. She was found by a Mary. So we can type that one in too. That's a name. It looks like she might have been... She was a maid currently working at the mansion. So she was the first one to find the body. So let's put her name in as well. Okay. Because that is... Oh, and then we have the sheriff's name as James Howard. So I'm going to put its name in blue. I don't think that he would be considered a suspect. So far we have Mary now, as she was the first one to find the body. Well, at least we know that that's where people are right now. And if you ever have to look back at this, the newspaper, it'll be right here. And I guess there's going to be diaries, letters, and documents, and something else to be found, and we can collect and have all our little evidence and clues here. So now we can look around the sheriff's and left control to crouch. You can obviously change this if you would like. Anytime it says, like, you know, pick something up, give it a shot. And obviously this is your first clue to look down, is to crouch. So you can find a desk key. Make sure to hit F to store it. You really do want to be looking everywhere. Okay. Work relocation. Dear Sheriff James Howard, due to the decreasing population of Painscreek County over the recent years, we have decided to delegate manpower elsewhere. This letter is to inform you that you have been reassigned to Grand County starting May 14th, 1998. Please report to our office before May 12th, 1998. So he actually got relocated after the deaths, which makes sense as there were several deaths and we saw the sign outside that said 0 population. Okay, so R to read. Okay, so this is just after she died at her funeral. June 30th, 1995. Vivian Roberts' funeral was held this afternoon. Bernard, the butler, Dorothy, the head servant, Derek, the family chauffeur, and his mom, Wanda, who was fighting cancer, attended. Vivian's husband, Charles, came with their daughter, Tricia. Charles did not utter a word. He was very quiet. Most of the town came and paid their respects at the funeral. Halfway through the ceremony, Tricia started to weep loudly. Dorothy brought her elsewhere, and the crying died down. I noticed that Dorothy looked tired. It must have been tough to take care of Tricia. She'd been having multiple breakdowns. I can't blame her. With the loss of her mother, and with her boyfriend being accused of the killer, it must take a toll on her. I feel sorry for the whole family. Okay, so from here we actually have some more names. We have Bernard the butler, Dorothy the head servant, Derek the family chauffeur, and Mom Wanda, who's fighting cancer. Vivian's husband was named Charles, so that means his name is Charles Roberts. And then they had a daughter named Tricia. So, I'm going to bring this back up again. And let's write down some names. So I'm already in blue, so let's get the boys' names going. And the reason why I'm doing like different colors is it kind of helps me see where people are, if that makes any sense. So we got James Howard. Now I'm gonna just write down all these other names that we got. So give me 1 second to write down. Okay, so with this, we know that Charles was, oh, that's not what I wanted. There we go. Charles was married to Vivian. And from that marriage, we got Tricia. Everything just starts messing up on me. Wonderful. So we have that. Alright, so let's draw a line between these two. And then we'll have one going down showing the connection to Tricia. And then we're gonna put it in orange. And let's see. So, right off the bat, we know Mary was a maid. Nope, we don't need it that big. We're only putting the names kind of bigger. Dorothy was head. I know I'm not muting for a second, but we are talking as we're doing this. Derek was a chauffeur. Nard was butler. Might help if I actually spell that correctly. And then we have James as sheriff. Okay, we don't really have what Wanda was, other than she had cancer and she was fighting it. And it looks like Trisha was dating someone, and they're accused of the murder. So let's read on and see what else we can get. September 6, 1995, the town of Painscreek is quickly becoming a ghost town. The population has decreased drastically over the years. Ever since the deaths occurred, it seems that more and more people are actively looking to leave this town. It's sad to see a once lively town become what it is now. So from here, we know that there was multiple deaths that seem to have happened around the same time. Not only did we have this, but the newspaper kind of hinted at that as well. So we might be looking at more of a serial killer, or we could be looking at, so many other things, but it looks like a lot of people have just died, and you don't, that doesn't really happen, like the town disappearing and people like just leaving the town doesn't really happen if it's of natural causes. So this right here is a big clue that there's more going on in the town, for the simple fact that, like I said, people are not, they're actively looking to leave this town, meaning there was a lot of stuff going on that made a lot of people feel uneasy and unsafe to be in this town, that they're actually willing to leave their town. So something to keep in mind. There was more going on here. September 2nd, 1995. It's been almost 6 months since Vivian was killed. Her death still bothers me. Why was she killed? What was the killer's motives? She was someone who had earned the love and respect of the community. No employee of hers, nor any citizen of Painscreek, reaped any benefits from her passing. It doesn't make any sense. February 20th, 1996. Painscreek Community Hospital has officially closed. The remaining patients have been pretty much relocated to other hospital moving on, that will provide suitable services for them. To be honest, it's hard to watch them leave. I wonder if the day will come when I will be reassigned somewhere else. Okay, we already know that he did get reassigned because we found the paper on the windowsill for him. And this states that the community hospital has been closed. They're still unsolved. This page right here just tells us that they have not been able to solve this murder, which makes sense, which is why we're here, type thing. Like, see if we get any more clues. Okay. Alright, so it's locked. Now, the thing with this game is you have to be right there. Do you see how it says unlock? Open. You gotta hover over it. And then you can open up your inventory using I. You want to click on the key that you want, or item. As you can see, you got your ID here. You have your camera. Your mission's goal. Your flashlight that you just picked up, and of course the key. There you go. Alright, now we have an old gate key. We're going to take that with us. Okay. Vivian Roberts murder case report. August 6, 1995. This report is an update of what happened to Vivian Roberts. Scott Brooks, the only suspect of this murder case, was apprehended a few days after Vivian's body was found. According to our investigation, someone saw Scott at around 11:30 p.m. near the woods north of the mansion. Two hunters were looking for more wood for their bonfire when they heard shouting. They witnessed Scott and Vivian arguing. However, they were too far to hear the content of the argument. 6 months prior to Vivian's death, Scott was fired from working at the mansion. She cited him for tardy work and rebellious behavior. She also prohibited Scott from visiting the mansion and meeting Trisha, who by then had a close relationship with Scott. We are currently investigating the case. Scott is our main suspect in Vivian's murder. Okay, so the sheriff decided that Scott was like the biggest clue on who killed her. So let's write down his name, and we have a few things going on here. So we have that Trisha was actually in a close relationship with Scott. So let's put Scott here. Hold on. Okay, so from here we can say that these two might have been dating. So we're just gonna put a line here and then take our eraser and just kind of make little dots, because we're not particularly sure, but Well, no, actually, we are sure because it stated that Trisha was dating, and it must be in the diary of the sheriff. It must have been hard for Trisha, her boyfriend being the suspect of her mother's death, type thing, right? So we can say that Scott was that, and we can put down that they were dating, right? Not only that, but Scott was fired. Fired by Vivian, right? Oh, not hired, sorry, fired. I had it. Okay. Last person to see her alive. And then here we can say prohibited from meeting from Trisha. Words are difficult. Like that. You. Okay. Not what I wanted. Let's try this again. Or disagreed, really, right? Well, we'll say, okay. I feel like I'm spelling this wrong. I'm not, though. I mean, so not only being fired, but saying that you can't date my daughter, that could have been motive. I can see why they've said that. So right now, our biggest lead is Scott, with Mary in the second now. So let's continue looking. Oh, here we go. Scott Brooks, Painscreek Trinity Church pastor's son, suspected for killing Vivian Roberts. Witness reported seeing suspect fleeing from the murder scene late night. The police apprehended Scott Brooks yesterday afternoon. He was residing at the Roberts hunting cabin by the trailhead. According to a witness who at this time has wished to remain anonymous, he was coming home late on July 19th, at around 11:50 p.m. when he saw Scott walking very quickly away from the Roberts mansion, heading down Silver Lake. Although Scott looked upset, the witness did not think it was unusual until a few days later when he came across the newspaper article on Vivian Roberts' murder. Feeling uneasy about the whole situation, he called the police. Shortly after the call was made, the police arrived at Scott's cabin and questioned about his whereabouts the night Vivian died. Scott said he did meet her that night, but said he had nothing to do with her murder or her death. Scott was later brought down to the station for further questioning. From this, we know that where he lived, it seems like, it says, let's see, what did it say? Yes, residing at Robert's hunting cabin. So not only was he an employee for Vivian or her family, he also lived in one of their cabins. So right there we know that he is living in a hunting cabin. And he's also a preacher's son. Or the pastor's son, I should say. Which we have not found any more information on that. So there we go. It probably doesn't have anything to do with the case, but at least we have a connection to the church if we find more on the church. Alright, so this is locked. Looks like they're all locked. Okay, so this says classified. That one looks blank. That's blank. And this says lost and found. And we're gonna have to find the code to get into this file cabinet. So a good thing to remember is the file cabinet for later.
Hi, this is Steven. I just wanted to make sure the package was sent. Again, I'm currently at Anne's Courtyard. Any extra info you have would be much appreciated. Thank you very much. Talk to you later.
Okay, we have a Scott who sent a package to the sheriff. I'm gonna guess before he got he moved to another spot. So he sent a package, but we're not seeing. I mean, it could be any of these. But it sounds like he's what did he say? Anne's Courtyard?
Hi, this is Steven. I just wanted to make sure the package was sent. Again, I'm currently at Anne's Courtyard. Any extra info you have would be much appreciated. Thank you very much. Talk to you later.
Okay, well, that is a new name that popped up. I'm just gonna quickly write it down. It might be nothing, but I found out in this game you definitely just want, anytime a new name pops up or just anything in general, you just kind of want to take a note. But I believe we've seen everything we can see in the sheriff's office, so we'll just have to come back if we ever figure out the code. It doesn't look like the code is just like lying around for us. Alright, we do have that. And one Black Pine Road, we can put that down for the sheriff. Because during the time that all this was happening, that's where he resided, if you will. We don't really have another location for him, so for right now, that is what we got. So, one Black Pine Road. Okay. Again, this is what we have just from, this is just from this one spot. We already have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 names. And a lot of these are in close relationship with Vivian. Like, we have her husband, we have her daughter, we have someone that was fired by her, was dating her daughter. She didn't want dating her daughter. We have the sheriff, we have the butler, we have the chauffeur, we have a head servant, we have a maid. And we got all that information just by reading everything in here. This is why I say it's very important to look around and pay attention to the things. So, close for good. It doesn't give us any option, but as you saw over here, we have a gate. Hover over the mouse. Do this, and I'm going to say that this is our gate key. About here is where you're going to get the achievement of finishing the tutorial. once you sprint, I believe it was. Okay, so we got boarded up houses. We've got houses that are locked. It really is a ghost town. Okay, so we have not really a sign of life, but we do have a vehicle here. Okay, it does give us an option to unlock and open, and seems like there is some stuff in there, but obviously we're in no position to try to open that right now. But here's Anne's Courtyard Inn and Suites, or Suits, where you want to look at it. So the guy that called the sheriff was staying right here in town. Now, I don't think that it's actually his address, but I don't know. We're just gonna put that down, as you can see, as his address, because that's the only one we actually have at the moment for him. That might be like a overview of the town. We're just gonna look around and see if we see anything. Okay, so we have a dart scoring. I am going to take a picture of that right now. We do have this right here. Because I saw when I put it back, it didn't actually say recorded. So if you go to your journal, there's nothing on that. But you see now we have Scott Brooks, we got the location, murder case report, and his diary. So we can read this at any time, in case we get lost on something else. So we have some more roads. This is kind of like a welcome to the town type thing. Here's where you can look around at stuff. Got some paintings. We got a board right here. Looks like they were getting ready for the fall festival. We have a barber shop. The Moon Cafe. Here's the church. Lost 20 years ago. A word from Father Matthew. That might be our pastor, which is Scott's father. But it says something happened 20 years ago, and I don't think it's been that long. If we go to our inventory. No, so we came in 6 years. No, sorry. We came in 3 years. 4 years? 4 years after all this happened. So something happened 20 years ago. So something big happened there. What can you do if you're locked out of your own car? Use a Slim Jim. The hook end of a tool is thin enough to slip between the car door's window and the rubber seal, catching the rod that connects the locking mechanism. Okay, so that didn't get recorded, so I'm just gonna take a picture of that so we have it. And I'm gonna take a picture of this. I don't think it relates to our case, but just in case, we're just gonna have it there. Let's see, anything in here? We got books. Okay, so we can get into the back office. There are books that we can't mess with. The light does turn on. Alright, here's the key that you requested. 7 Black Pine Road. That didn't get recorded, so I'm going to take a picture of it. And someone requested this key, but we can take it. Okay. Oh, and it looks like we have more keys right here. These might be room keys, but it gives us the option to take them, so let's just take them. Alright, looks like we got some more darts right here. We got a lot of bottles on the ground. Locked toolbox. Doesn't look like it actually gives us an option to unlock. So it's just a little thing saying, hey, here's a toolbox. You can examine it if you want to. Alright, we found another... Okay, so this is after the murders. Okay, so this tells us the hospital closes its door after 60 years of service. Fund embezzlement suspected as a key factor. Oh. One of the leaders in long-term rehabilitation for the for the elderly in Newland finally closes its doors after 60 years of service. The Painscreek Community Hospital first opened its doors in 1936, serving as a humble abode for treating patients and providing boarding for those in need of prolonged treatment. Vivian Roberts, a successful businesswoman, saw the need to revamp the hospital in the early 70s. She founded the Roberts Relief Foundation with the main purpose to support the needs of the village of Painscreek, starting with the hospital. By the early 80s, the population of the village and local areas has started to decline rapidly. Many young people who went to college did not return, and the number of seniors were quickly rising with the increased need. There you go. So they really want to point out that Vivian was a very successful businesswoman. And she seemed to be doing a lot for the community. So let's just put down successful businesswoman. This could have been a factor of why she was attacked. Some people, deals go wrong. She might have said no to a deal that someone really wanted, blah, 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 blah. But she's the founder of the Relief Foundation. So she started this. So we're going to put that down as her thing too. We might actually have to move this stuff here down, the Trisha Scott stuff down, because it looks like we're getting a lot of information about Vivian, which is a good thing as she is our, main person. So we have that. Okay, it says on. Looks like that's okay. All right, welcome to Anne's Courtyard Inn and Suit. Oh. Okay, actually, here we go. Here's Scott. Or not Scott, sorry, Stephen Moss. This could be the same Stephen that I'm gonna say, okay, he doesn't have a date out though. He's a question mark. That's okay. I think I'm gonna do this. And I'm gonna say that the Stephen that was on the message machine in the sheriff's office is probably the same Stephen that's here. It kind of makes sense because it was a Stephen, and it's the only Stephen that is staying at the inn, and that's where he said that he was. So, that being said, let's give Stephen his whole name. And oh, why did that not? I'm being very talented over here, don't worry. Okay, so we have the Stephen Moss, and it's green, because I forgot to change the color. We're gonna put it back to blue. Wham bam, thank you ma'am. There we go. So it does make sense that that would be the same Stephen that we are dealing with. Alright.
Hi, this is Oliver Gibson. I just wanted to thank you for letting me borrow your toolbox and shovel. I'm currently out of town for a few days, and I didn't get the chance to return it yet. In the case you need them, it's currently sitting in my photo lab. Ask Mrs. Patterson for my spare key.
Okay, so I'm gonna say the owner of the photo lab. And he borrowed tools. And he's out of town for a little bit. So if we need to find a Mrs. Patterson. Okay. Da Vinci wine. I'm not really seeing anything else here. So let's continue. Doors like to push you. Alright, we don't got anything in the bathroom. Here's some of our usual customers. You might want to memorize this. Okay. Robert's Estate. Okay, so they also... Oh, and the photo lab. We're not sure if that's actually really needed, but now we know the photo lab was 5 Walnut Ave. And we can put that down for the Oliver Gibson. Because he's not out of the woods. We don't know... That's probably... The message was probably after everything that happened. So, but for now, let's just put that down. We already know the Roberts Estate's address. We now know the church's address, but we did take a picture, so if we need to go back and look at these other names, we can. Other than that, it doesn't look like we have anything in here. We can go upstairs now. We got some pictures, walls. Okay, so this is 203. 203. I love the fact that this place is like abandoned, but we still have power for most of the places. Like so far what we got. Right, nothing in there. More boxes. So 204. I'm guessing those are lights to turn those on. We have a roll of toilet paper, it looks like. Used one. Thing over there. We got a Holy Bible again. Nothing going on there. I almost went back downstairs. We got bucket. 202. Got the bathroom again. Oh, that one pushed me far. Must have been left by one of the last guests. Okay. So that's actually an achievement, by the way, if you didn't know, getting this hat. I know it didn't pop up, but, yeah. That's just one of those things. And we have nothing else in this room, it looks like. Late rent fee notice. Dear Stephen Moss, thank you for your rent payment. As stated in your rental agreement, however, when rent payments are not received by floor 4, you must pay additional rent because of a late charge due or because you did not qualify for the rent discount. The required additional amount was not included in your payment and is therefore now due. Please send the additional requirement rent amount of $85 at once to bring your credit balance up to date and remove it from the delinquent list. This amount must be paid within 7 days from the date of this notice. Thank you for your prompt cooperation. Sincerely, Rosaline? So this is past due, so he has a late rent fee. And he hasn't checked out yet. But we didn't get a key for his thing, so he definitely still has the key, right? So where? Okay, so let's just write down owes rent for Stephen Moss. Probably nothing to do with what's going on, because it seems like it's an after everything happened. But late on rent. That sounds good. Alright, so I think we looked through everything here. We did, however. Alright, from here we're going to end it, as it is almost an hour long now. Thank you all for playing along with me. Come back, we'll have the Black Pine Road, and I believe we're going to go to the mansion next. So come back and we'll explore those two areas together. And I hope you all have a wonderful day.